You just make up in your mind what you think is a better ride, and then you got to try and keep each trainer happy because, I mean, Sean's got a big personality, Wayo's got a big personality, and if you upset them, then they get upset with you. So you got to try and please everyone at the same time and try and get the best rides as possible. And it's not easy, but like Smunga had 5 on Saturday. That was the first meeting that we nominated for after his big July Day success. So when the noms came out, I had all these offers from all these trainers, can Smunga ride this, can Smunga ride that? And then I had to try and balance it and choose the best ones. And luckily on a day like that, it all came together.
Well, you certainly did choose the best ones because it started a bit quietly, but then come to the last race, you must have thought, my goodness gracious, going through the 300, you must have thought, well, maybe we can ride the Pick 6, which would have been unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't think the 5th one could win, that one of Wayo's Up to the Moon, but Smunga rode it so fantastically well, and he just got it up. And then with the 6th one, Mesmerizing Melody for Sean, I messaged him just before. I said, geez, the pressure's on you now. Yeah. But I couldn't see her winning, but she ran a good race. She got beat about 2 lengths. Smunga rode a good race on her, but that would have been an ask too much.
To go and try and win it. He actually looked like he pinched a break.
Yeah, he did. That's when I thought, geez, Smunga's gone and pinched another one, but she's just a bit high on the ratings, I think, for her current ability.
Form grids, do you use that a lot?
I use form grids a lot. When I'm on the computer all the time, I have SA Horse Racing open and form grids open, and then I use it to double check everything all the time. It's a very, very helpful tool. It's priceless, really.
How did you get to Simango Khumalo?
When I finished up handicapping at the Jockey Club, I had a few offers. I was doing Brandon Arena and then in Natal, and Smunga phoned me and he said, look, I've just come back from an injury, I'm starting again, I need to try and build up to where I was. And then I said, okay, let's do it. And at that time he was riding for the smaller, not smaller as in trainer ability wise, but in horse numbers, the smaller Turfentine trainers with 30-40 horses. And it's been a long plan. It's been an 18-month plan to get him to where he is now. And now he's riding for Sean and Wayo Mooing and these guys. So, and we still ride for the trainers that have supported us in the beginning. So it's come together nicely. Whereas now, when I'm doing Smunga's rides, it's not about trying to get a full card and trying to get riding fees. It's literally about trying to pick the best rides. It's been a long time coming, a long plan. So we're happy to carry on riding winners and have a go at the championship next season.
So that is your long-term plan now, to try and win the championship with
Well, that's the plan. Smunga's been very unfortunate with injuries in the last few years. I mean, this particular season, he was at the top of the championship for about 6 weeks. He had 35 winners and Striker was just behind him, and then he got a bad injury, and then he came back and he got another bad injury. So we've got to try and be more selective with the help of the trainers, just keeping him on horses that aren't particularly hot or badly behaved in the pens or whatever. But our goal is the championship. He rides in PE as well and in Kimberley for Vernon Ruggs. So we've got to try and fine-tune our rides in those minor centres to squeeze as many winners as possible.
We'll be back with Justin after a break, and we'll be chatting to him about where he's currently involved. Well, Justin Vermaak, a most interesting man, and certainly the first part gave us a little bit of background, but then you got a job offer of monumentous proportion to go and work as the racing manager for Main Chance.
Yes, that's right. I started in April, the beginning of April, yes. Kevin Somerville from Drakenstein mentioned to me that Main Chance were looking for a racing manager. So I sent in my CV, and Andreas was happy with me, and I flew down to Cape Town for 2 interviews. The first one with John Slade, the stud manager, and then a week later with Andreas himself. And then a few weeks later, they offered me the job. So, it's a thing that's come up in South African racing, the whole racing manager role. And I think it's very important for big stud farms. And I was just happy to fill the void.
How have you found it? Because it's something totally different, because you've never really been close to the horse itself, have you?
Well, as a trainer, as an assistant, I was close to the horse. So that was only for about a year or so. But after being a handicapper, I learned a lot about ratings, and being an agent, a lot about how the weights work and stuff. So planning horses' careers sort of is the next step forward. It's been easy for me, but I don't rule with an iron fist with trainers and say run here, run there, because as a farm we expect trainers to buy from us. So it's more when we send horses two trainers. It's more about creating good relationships with the guys. So, we talk about it together, and I add my input and advice, and that's how we do it. But we've got 45, 46 in training around the country in the 3 different major centres, and then in PE as well. Just sent one to Kimberley. So, I'm lucky. I get to come to Durban in the season, watch our horses that we had Princess Victoria and Telina. It didn't go according to plan, those 2, but we've got Adhera with Mark de Kock running in the 2-year-old fillies Group 1 on Gold Cup Day. So it was important to be here with the bigger horses, and now I'll go back to the Cape, and we're building up a nice portfolio of horses in training that are coming forward for the Cape season.
What about Main Chance as a breeding operation? I know it was originally Godfrey Gerd and then Graham Beck, and now we've got Andreas Jacobs who's done a wonderful job with the farm, and John Slade, who's been a friend of ours for forever. We've obviously grown up with John Slade, and he's probably one of the best stud managers around. He's a great guy to work with.
Yeah, John's a great guy to work with. His knowledge is incredible. I mean, he's been around forever. Luckily, he's stayed on as long as he has for the farm because he's an integral part of it. And I mean, I think the breeding results speak for themselves. If you see overseas, we had Ato and Flax doing so well in the past few years, and I mean, this year we've bred Happy Valentine and Run for It ran second in the July. So the horses are doing well. We're breeding well. We don't breed on numbers-wise the same as Klavervlei and Summerhill do, so it would be unfair to compare stakes-wise with them. But I think we're sitting 4th this year in the championship, just behind Wilgebosdrift, who's in 3rd. Highlands, I think, is 3rd, and Wilgebosdrift just behind us. So we're having a good season. We breed good horses, and it makes my job easier.
The jewel in the crown, Silvano. Tell us about him.
Yeah, Silvano, he's 17 this year. He's an absolute gentleman. You can walk in between his back legs, swing on his tail during the season. He's an absolute gentleman. But what he's done this year has been incredible. And not just this year, towards the back end of this year. When I started in April, he was doing well. He was leading the championship. But since then, things have just catapulted to another level. He's had 12 or 13 stakes winners this season, 5 individual Group 1 winners. I mean, Heavy Metal has done so well for him, but I mean, if you had to take Heavy Metal stake earnings off, he'd still be leading the championship. That's how far clear he is. First stallion past 20 million this season. I mean, he bred the Group 1 winner in the German Derby.
Now, let's talk about that, Justin, because we mentioned it on our show. I picked it up and I tried to get you. Unfortunately, you were probably very busy trying to find rides for Samanga. But the point was, we saw it and I said to Laf, this has got to be Silvano, but how did he get out and get back into this country? That must have been a military operation of note.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't around then, but from what I've listened to and picked up, what happened was Silvano was always intent to be a shuttle stallion between Germany and South Africa. But just after he came in, the whole African horse sickness debacle happened, and Andreas got left a bit in the lurch by certain people, so he had to stay here. But while he was marketing him as a stallion, he had obviously offered him to German clients as well. So Andreas, being the man of his word that he is, at Silvano's expense probably, because he had to go through certain protocols and whatnot to get overseas, he ensured Silvano went there for a season so that he could fulfill commitments to the German breeders. This was in 2009. So he went there for the season and then came back here. And Lucky Speed is from that season that he was there, Group 1 winner in Germany.
The German Derby winner.
That's right.
And a week apart, you have the German Derby winner and the Vodacom Durban July winner. It's just, it's absolutely amazing. You know, when you think that the horse has got to physically cover the mare, it's not like they're sending, you know, artificial insemination straws or anything. They have to physically go and cover that mare in Germany. It's a tribute to what a horse he must be. You know, I just think it's a story that makes one show how, you know, how resolute people and horses are in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a testament to the horse. I mean, even as a racehorse, he basically did for German racing what Victory Moon did for South African racing. He globetrotted and won Group 1s on different continents, and he just carried it on in his stud career. He's a phenomenal horse. We're lucky to have him, and we've still got a good few years of him, lucky enough.
Well, it's interesting. You've got now a whole lot of new stallions on the farm. Lateral's one of them. Jatana and Nando. Run us through them. Give us an idea.
Yes, we have Lateral. He's a Group 1 winning son of Singspiel. He was a champion 2-year-old, champion 3-year-old, and champion miler. He's not an unproven horse. He's got a first crop running in Europe. He has a stakes horse in France from his first crop. So we hold decent hopes for him. He's the type of horse who's going to throw you a 2-year-old that trains on to be a decent 3-year-old miler. He'll have quick horses. Kirari, we have high hopes for. He's a Group 1 winning son of Oasis Dream, who is talk of Europe at the moment. Besides Galileo, he's probably the next best stallion. He won 2,000 meter Group 1. He's almost the type of horse we've brought in to replace Silvano eventually. He's from an Akatanango mare, the same as Animal Kingdom, so a stout German female line. And he's the best looking stallion we have. He's an incredible looking horse. We have Gitano Hernando as well, winner of the Group 1 Singapore Airlines and the Goodwood Stakes at Santa Anita in the US. So he's from the same female line as Silvano. And then obviously we have Black Manalush as well, who does well for us. He's got plenty Group 1 horses everywhere. Almost had another Group 1 winner with Kochka, trained by Alison Wright on July Day, but he just got touched off. So we got 5 guys there, 5 decent stallions, and hopefully the 3 new guys will go on and replace Silvano and Black Manalush eventually.
What type of broodmare band does Andreas run on the farm? What size?
There's about 120 mares. We're scaling it down a little bit and improving the quality, but you know it's a hard one because although we're scaling down numbers wise, you know every now and then a good opportunity comes in to bring a new mare, a nice black type, well raced mare, and then you bring her in. So there's about 120 at the moment.
And then you must rely quite heavily on outside support because you've got 5 stallions at 80 mares each, and you need another 300-400 mares to come onto the farm every year to get covered.
Yeah, we get great support from other breeders. Obviously, our stallions, there's a lot of shares and services held by outside people, but we get great support from the Western Cape breeders, and we send a lot of mares to their stallions as well, so it all goes well.
Sounds like you're enjoying it, but now the leading question, when we get guys like you on the show, racing is about building. What would you give it? We've got a couple of minutes. What would your input be to try and make racing more popular amongst the masses, make it more fun? And how does Justin Vermaak see racing should go forward?
You know, you said in the beginning of the show about getting young people involved. The problem is everyone in racing is very, you know, we need to get young people involved coming through the ranks. But try be a young person trying to get through racing. It's not easy because your age is used against you. People think you wet behind the ears, etc., etc. And that's got to be something that's addressed because there's a severe lack of youth interest, except for the once-a-year punters that come to the July, etc. We've got to look at things like the open bet. Bookmakers, my bookmaker friends won't like me saying it, but they don't exactly help enough. I don't think so anyway. And for me, the biggest single factor that can change racing here is the issue with the protocols. Because if that type of thing gets lifted, there's no end to what people like Coolmore, people like Andreas, people like the Sheikhs in Dubai, etc. can do for our game. If we lift that protocol problem, we get it sorted out, we can open up the Asian market that the Australians are benefiting so much from. That can literally, it can transform our breeding industry, which will transform our racing industry, bring so much money into our game. It's frightening. So that's so imperative, and I know there are guys that are working every day trying to get it sorted, and it's not easy. But hopefully within the next few months, something comes of it.
Justin, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you well in your future. You've made giant strides for a young man, wet behind the ears, as you say. But,
thanks,
it's been
Jay.
fantastic having you.
Thanks,
Justin Vermaak, it shows you that there are some young guys in racing who are absolutely passionate about it, and it's wonderful having them in the industry, and we wish him well, and we wish Main Chance well in the years to come. They're a great asset to the South African breeding industry.
Second position, but Military Moses giving them a bath. That's one of the biggest millions I've ever seen. Grace Valana, the leader. Grace Valana.